Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Advanced Bass Fishing, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel and hanging out with me a little bit. And guys, today in the tackle room, we're going to have a little talk like you were just hanging out together. If you guys were here with me, this would be a great conversation to have. We're going to talk about how important lure color really is. Is it that big of a deal? Is it a big deal? I'm going to give you guys my opinion on this from my observation in bass fishing and the success and failures I've had, because I got some pretty strong opinions on lure color I'm going to share with you guys today. And it's helped me a lot. I've learned it. I've sort of been a student of it. And I think by passing it to you guys, it's going to help you guys catch some more fish too. Also, guys, before we get started, quick reminder, I'd like to invite everybody to please swing by and check out my new Blaukat Throwback Power Finesse Jig. Guys, this is an excellent lure for wintertime bass fishing. Little bitty finessey live rubber jig here. I'll put it in my tackle warehouse link in the description if you guys would like to order a few of them. We got 6 different colors, 3 different sizes. Any type of brown or green combination, we got several of those. This is, I think it's brown and purple or green and purple. I'm colorblind, I can't really tell, but all I know is I catch a bunch of fish on this one here. So link in the description if you guys would like to pick one up. And also, guys, thank you very much for taking time to check out and subscribe here to Advanced Bass Fishing and maybe be a channel member. Really appreciate the support with that. Okay, guys, how important is this? Is it overrated? What's going on with it? Here's my theory on bass fishing for colors. Color is extremely important. It's extremely important to bass fishing. Now, when I talk about that, I'm talking about in maximizing the number of bass that you catch, especially in a lake that's a public body of water that gets fishing pressure. Color is huge in that. Now, if you're fishing, if you own a private farm pond that nobody ever fishes, or you live in some gated community that has a private lake on it, nobody ever fishes it, yeah, color is not going to be that big of a deal. The bass are not going to be that educated. But I have found personally, as the more bass become pressured and educated, the more color sensitive they are. And I've got some, sort of some foundational tips that I want to pass along to you guys with that. Now, some lure categories, color is more important than others. For example, let's talk about the leading to go, like the most to least. If you gave me, say, Randy, what's the most lure categories, how important is color in each lure category? Jerk baits would be number 1. Color is critical in jerk baits. It's like probably not another lure out there that is color sensitive as jerk bait fishing, a big, big deal. Second with that is going to be crankbaits. Crankbaits are going to be, the success you have on them is going to be highly related to the color that you choose. And then after jerk baits and crankbaits, some of the soft plastic lures, like your Texas rig worms, Texas rig creature baits, those can be really color sensitive. For example, if you're fishing a body of water that has 4 foot of visibility in it, and you try to throw a June bug or a black worm, you're not going to catch near as many fish as if you throw a green pumpkin or watermelon or some type of a variation with a flake in that. And then the ones that don't matter quite as much as far as color, I'm not saying it doesn't, but it doesn't matter quite as much, is like your topwater lures. Topwater lures, maybe something like a glide bait, they still react to certain colors, but compared to like a jerk bait, if you compare a jerk bait and a topwater lure, there's no comparison to how color sensitive they are. Okay, now here is a few things that I have figured out about colors, little bitty tips and advice. Number 1 is pay attention to the primary colors that you see when you go into a tackle store that people are buying. Now, if you go into any type of a big tackle store like Bass Pro or, Cabela's or something like that, you're going to notice a lot of the mainstream colors. You're going to see a lot of sexy shads. You're going to see a lot of like blackback chartreuse sides, something like that. Tennessee shads, some type of common colors like that. Try to stay away from those primary colors or modify that to some extent. Say for example, if you get a sexy shad, something like that, maybe put a different back color on it. Take a magic marker and darken the back or something like that, or draw some gills on the side of it, or take some sandpaper or a Brillo pad like I talk about and take some of the shine off it. Never try to use the color, right out of the box that you see from the factory. It's not near as effective. And also, when you're thinking in terms of colors with hard baits and soft baits are different. Think in terms, instead of thinking like specific colors, think in terms of like a metallic finish or a translucent, like a clear-sided type of a jerk bait, crankbait, or like a matte finish, something like a solid painted one. Because normally, like your matte finishes, like a solid painted finish on there, they work really good in a little bit more off-colored water or low light conditions, cloudy days. The translucent colors work a lot better on bright days or clear water. And the metallics usually work better sort of in that in-between water clarity, especially if you got some wind. But for the soft plastic baits, a couple different things with color that makes a big difference is I'm a big believer in flake and different type of popular lure colors. In other words, if I'm using like a green pumpkin or a watermelon, I rarely use just a straight green pumpkin or a watermelon. I like something like green pumpkin with purple flake or green pumpkin with red flake, some type of a flake variation with it. Same with the watermelon. And I usually use a lot of dye. I usually put like a little orange or a little chartreuse on the tips of the baits or the tips of the tail. That gives it a little bit more of a different look. And you just sort of have to experiment with that. But normally, soft plastics are the same as hard baits when it comes to water clarity versus colors. Your more natural hues and your natural tones are going to work better, obviously, in the cleaner water and the brighter conditions. And then same with the darker ones, it's going to be better in dirty water or low light conditions. But if I could give you guys one piece of advice on lure color is keep an open mind and experiment. Don't get locked into what you think that's going to work or what's worked for you in the past. Always experiment with some new colors and tinker with it. Just get like a dozen bottles of fingernail polish where you can put different colors on stuff, get a bunch of different marking pens, and just play with it. That's how you figure out new colors. I had this one buddy of mine that he passed away a few years ago, but he fished a lot of the Bassmaster circuit with me back in the 80s. And he would like any bait that he had like a box full of markers and stuff. And he'd always be like drawing on them and trying to make different, colors on it. And it worked. He did really good on it because not only it's something the fish didn't see much, but it gave him confidence. And don't ever underestimate the importance of having confidence in the lure color that you're throwing. And there's nothing that'll give you more confidence than coming up with a color on your own, something you invented, and you catch fish on it. If you have that, you know that nobody else is fishing it, and that boosts your self-confidence so much that it makes a huge difference sometimes. So anyway, guys, hope that tip helps you a little bit, and we'll check in later. See you.